From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spar on the radio.
Okay. Hello to Amie Lou Shaw. How are you today?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thank you. Let me chat to you. So, can you tell me, how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
How long I've been songwriting for, did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been songwriting for, since I was probably about 16 or something. Although, to be fair, probably earlier than that. It's just that I kind of started to write songs, I guess, properly, using a program and things like that when I was around 16. But I was always kind of hearing songs in my head. It was always like, when I go for a run or whatever, and I used to kind of like just hear a song literally playing in my head, and I was like, I have got to write that. The thing is, I'd always have a full arrangement playing in my head, and so it was kind of like, how do I go about putting this whole thing together? So, over the years, I guess I've been very lucky to work with quite a few producers who've been able to kind of bring that to life, and of course, when I did my degree in music as well, that was a really good way of me getting the chance to, I guess, refine my skills in writing and stuff. And it just really kind of helped me to get my ideas down as well. So, using Logic is usually what I used to actually record and stuff. So, yeah. So I've been writing a little while now.
So what was it like going to the recording studio when we first went there?
So, like the first time I went to the recording studio.
Yeah.
Gosh, yes, I'm looking back in time now. I think one of my first experiences was with FC Music Project at the time, which are now called Audio Beach. And Forbes there was absolutely brilliant because, what I did was I started by writing a lot of songs on Logic, and I just literally used to get a whole kind of bunch of sounds and things that I thought would really kind of work together. And I'd kind of map out the song. I used to kind of sit there and kind of work out the piano parts and things. And just kind of like little effects and things like that. But I never really felt like my own kind of productions really, I just felt like they needed a bit of polish, shall we say. And so my kind of idea really was to, in the end, just to say to producers, look, I've kind of got some ideas here. And, can you help me to sort of format them a bit and kind of, just sort of work on them a bit and just see what you can add in that would kind of make it sound more professional, and stuff like that. And also, record a really, really good vocal as well, because that's obviously really important, which I was discussing this morning, with someone I'm working with. So, I mean, it's really good because it's obviously, the process of writing, it unfolds, gradually, bit by bit, really. You just never quite know kind of what ideas are going to come up next. And, it's good to work with somebody who really gets your creative journey and really understands exactly the way that you kind of perceive these ideas to be. Because a lot of the time you hear an idea and you think to yourself, you're like, oh, I could embellish that a bit more. And then you kind of need that producer to sort of say to you, you know what, try this or try this. And sometimes that's the thing that makes the song really stand out, But it's a great thing to be involved in, to be honest. I love going to the studio, and I'm going to be going to the studio soon enough again, actually, to record some funk stuff, which is going to be really cool, because I've just started doing funk soul project, which is really interesting. And it's different to a lot of the stuff that I've kind of done in the past, but I'm really liking it because it feels like it sort of fits quite nicely with my voice and things like that. So it's a really cool journey. It's a really cool kind of it's taken a little while to get to the point where, you know, I've kind of got the songs together and all that kind of thing. But you know, I've been working with various producers and stuff sort of out in America, and you know, they've sort of been sending tracks on to me and just kind of saying, you know, have a go at this, see what you think of it. And then we're sort of working with those tracks, but also we're kind of creating our own versions of those tracks as well. So using, like, you know, a whole bunch of instruments as well. So like live instruments. We're looking into live performance as to how we kind of mix up the I guess the kind of the stems in the track, shall we say, so the various different elements of the track with live instrumentation as well. And, you know, to kind of give a fuller sound, because it can be kind of tricky nowadays as well. You know, you can't take, you know, a huge number of musicians with you necessarily, you know, and if you've got a track that's got loads of elements and loads of layers in it, you know, particularly as I tend to do with lots of kind of vocal layers and stuff like that and harmonies and what have you, you know, you do kind of need to sometimes just have some tracks kind of mixed in with your live instrumentation. So I'm looking forward to working with a new studio actually based in Surrey, and just getting some ideas down. They specialize in funk music, so I'm really excited to kind of hear their ideas. And they're kind of working. I mean, I can't tell you too much now, right? I need to kind of wait a little bit, but soon enough, you guys will all know who I'm working with and things like that, and you'll kind of have a clearer idea of what I'm kind of working on. But I'm working with somebody who's really amazing at funk music, and kind of musical programming and things like that. So it's a very exciting time. You know, there's lots of really cool things happening, and in terms of my music. But yes, anyway.
So can you tell me more about your debut album that released called On My Mind?
Yeah, so that album came about, I think I must have been writing it about 3 years ago now. So it's kind of like, you know, I think, again, it's one of those things where you sort of sit down and you sort of work through your ideas and, you know, and sat at the piano and kind of, you know, worked through these songs. On My Mind was, I guess I kind of wanted to explore a lot of harmonies with that one. So because I think a lot of my sound tends to be mapped around my harmonies and things like that, it kind of gave me a chance to be able to explore lots of different harmonies for that one. On My Mind is, you know, things that are on your mind, you know, kind of like, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of a memory, and sort of saying to somebody, oh, you know, you'll still be on my mind. Just, you know, don't forget, you know, you still be on my mind. Because of course we can't keep up with everybody nowadays, kind of thing. So, you know, life gets so busy. So it's like, despite everything, despite moving forwards and all that kind of thing, you know, it's like you'll still be on my mind, sort of thing. So that's kind of what that song's about. And what else to say about it, really? I wrote the song Drifting as well, kind of using various different sounds and things like that, and just found some sounds that I thought were really cool for that. Like, it's kind of got a really interesting guitar kind of effect on there. You know, you got some guitars with some interesting effects on there. Which I thought was great for Drifting, because it's got this kind of this mood about it. You know, we were all kind of going into lockdown, and it was like, drifting was born of the idea that, it's like I'm not quite sure where I'm going right now, but I'm actually kind of liking it. I'm quite liking the idea of the fact that I'm able to drift a bit, because I'd never really been able to have that chance just to kind of drift a bit. I had been so busy teaching 55 students a week, and I was teaching piano, singing, and flute, and it was just really busy. It was a really busy schedule, and busy home life and stuff, and so I just kind of needed a bit of time and space just to kind of, I think, really just explore ideas and stuff. And for me, just to have that time just to, as I say, kind of drift a bit rather than, constantly, doing things all the time and like planning things. And so that's what kind of drifting was about, really. Yeah, it was quite magical. It's quite a kind of in a lot of ways, it's quite a magical song. But the verse kind of starts off quite kind of almost kind of grungy sounding, I guess, in a way. It's kind of like got that sort of, it's got a bit of almost tension about it, I suppose you could say. And then, you get to the chorus and it's like, actually, I'm quite liking the fact that I'm drifting, and it's just, I just make it up as I go along. And, kind of takes me back to when I lived in Ireland as well. I think, I learned that, when I lived out there, to sort of just go with the flow, and, that you don't have to kind of constantly make set plans all the time and stuff like that. So, yeah.
So, can you tell me, you've got a new project on the go at the minute. So, can you tell me more about that?
My new project as well. Oh, yes. So basically, I've been working with a whole bunch of people. I started setting up monthly Zoom calls to chat with promoters, musicians, and then venues. And what I'm trying to do is to have an effect on a positive effect on grassroots venues, because we're losing so many at the moment. If you look at the research from the Music Venues Trust, you look at their report for 2023, it was, I just couldn't believe it. Some of the data that was in there, so yeah, so I'm in support of that. I'm in support of what they're doing to support venues. I'm in support of building more venues for artists to play at, and also in supporting young people so that they've got venues to play at in future. Some of these venues that are going are like really kind of notable venues in the sense that they've had sort of some incredible acts playing at them and things. So it's like we can't lose them. We cannot lose these venues. It's just so important that they are protected and that they're not closing down and stuff. I think the rents are so high as well. That's the other thing that was kind of coming up in that data there. So yeah, I'm working with a whole bunch of people really to kind of bring about events, but also to have a positive impact on things like mental health as well, and to support charities, to kind of bring back a sense of community as well. All of these things are so important, and they are kind of areas that I really want to focus on building and, having a positive impact on. And, I'm hoping that, by doing this work as well, we'll kind of collaborate with some sort of bigger companies that have the same kind of ethos that we have as well. I've been busy sort of putting together a business plan for that as well. So, we've kind of got our mission statement together and things like that. So whilst there's quite a lot of work to do with that still, there are plenty of events going on. There's plenty of people that are running events, certainly where I am, East Sussex. And, hopefully there will be more events to come soon as well. So, I will definitely be putting more information on all that kind of on my page and stuff, on my Facebook page, and on my website as well, which is www.amieloushaw.com. So yeah, you'll be able to find kind of updates on there, and obviously on my socials and everything like that. What I really wanted to do as well is to create like a touring network as well. So in a way, kind of have a chance for artists to be able to tour the UK, and have various different venues that they can go and perform in and things like that. And obviously for me as well, I am part of that as well. So, it gives me a chance to collaborate with other people. And I think there's so much happening, really. I mean, I was talking to a producer I kind of work with as well, who's based in Canada. And we were kind of talking, he wants to set up like a kind of a, I guess, a kind of a group online music session and stuff. So we're thinking what we're going to do is possibly collaborate a bit on that as well. And there's lots of exciting things that are coming up as a result of this as well, that are kind of just exciting for me as well, and kind of growing me as an artist and as a songwriter as well. One of my other collaborators out in America, Anthony Dent, he's got various kind of artists that are approaching him as well, and he's asked me to kind of write for them as well, and we're kind of coaching them and helping them to develop themselves as well. So there's a whole pile of things really happening, and it's definitely very exciting. So yeah, it's cool.
So can you tell me more about your gigs you've got coming up? So I know you got one in March, but can you tell me more one about in April?
Yeah, so 18th of April as well is the Lion's Den in Manchester. So, and we've got the Sound Lounge in Sutton as well. So yeah, so if you want to come along, you're very welcome to. We've got, they're both ticketed events. What else to say? We're supporting the Climate Stripes on the Manchester gig. So that's that. And we're playing, I think, a 30-minute set as well, over in the Sound Lounge as well. So yeah, so it should be a fun one. They're the main two at the moment. I've got another gig as well that I'm going to be part of in April as well, coming up in April. And we've also got a networking event for anybody who's kind of interested in what I was talking about earlier, the kind of the community venture. We have got a networking event coming up as well, which I'll try and post details as well on my social media about as well. Because it's all part of the same kind of thing. It's all about kind of supporting artists, and that's something that I'm very keen to do, as well as kind of promoting what I do. I want to support other people in what they do as well, and we're all working together. We've got to keep these venues open. It's so important. Yeah.
So finally, can you tell me how's it been independent artist for you?
So being an independent artist.
Yeah.
So I mean, being an independent artist is great. I really enjoy being an independent artist because it means that you can be in charge of your own sort of decisions as to what happens and when. I think, if you are a signed artist, then it's always worth looking at your contracts. And this is where, having a bit of a kind of a business mind when it comes to music is pretty important. Very important. And never underestimate the importance of it, to be honest. Because, you don't want to have a bad contract, basically. It's better to kind of, retain your own independence in a lot of ways, I think, if you can, or kind of, have a little bit of autonomy, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, being an independent artist is great. You can kind of decide when your releases go out. You can, you can decide which venues you kind of want to play at as well. You can kind of really pinpoint that, which is great. And there's plenty you can do. You can work with like the venues, you can work with the promoters and things as well. And I don't know whether I don't know, for artists of a certain level, I don't know whether there's too much point being signed until you kind of, you've reached a certain level, and then you're kind of making those kinds of decisions to be signed, if it makes sense. Again, it all comes down to the paperwork and the kinds of things that you're going to be agreeing to. It's very important to get a good lawyer to look over stuff as well. I always think a good music lawyer. But yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. Like I said, I can kind of make my own life up, as it were. I can do a bit of teaching. If I want to do a tour, I can do that. I suppose the thing with being independent as well is applying for like funding and things like that, which there is available. You can apply for funding. It is kind of competitive, so it's useful to think of ways around funding, certainly, which is why I've been kind of exploring having a Patreon page. And for me, that kind of ties a lot of things together, because being able to teach piano and singing and flute and also kind of artist development. There's a lot of things, a lot of skills that I've got in music that I can kind of pass on to people, music theory, all that kind of thing as well. But also for singers, things like microphone technique, you've got things like your scales, all that stuff. There's a whole pile of stuff, really. But it's all about, I just kind of want to inspire people to not give up on music, because I think there's a lot of people that right now are kind of seeing the state of, the venues, and are feeling very uninspired by the music industry as a whole, and the media industry. And I kind of just don't want to see people kind of, giving up on it, because they're feeling unsupported. I do believe that we can have a support network, and we can all kind of work together on creating a lot of changes and stuff, and supporting each other, really, to keep moving forward on it. So yeah, so my Patreon is up and running, as you know. And I'm going to get a Patreon sorted as well for this community venture as well. So yes, it's almost like there's just so many things going on right now that it's like, it's kind of looking at it from many, many different angles, really, I think, with music at the moment.
So finally, can you tell me, listeners, where can I find you on social media?
So Facebook is www.facebook.com/Amie Lou Shaw. Beg your pardon, Amie Lou Shaw Music. So that's that. And then you've got on Twitter as well, I'm down as Amie Lou Shaw. What else as well? But if you go to my website, it's got all the social media links on there anyway. So if you just go to amieloushaw.com, and then you've got all the social media links on there as well. So yeah, you can find all that there, and also all my events. And it's that's on Reverb Nation, actually. My events there. So www.reverbnation.com/Amie Lou Shaw. So yeah.
Thank you for letting me chat to you today.
Been really good to chat to you too, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Thanks so much. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.